Let's do like a quick version of your upbringing before we get to like the federal indictment and all this stuff that kind of leads to you becoming a YouTuber. So you just, would you like, how would you describe like your teenage years when you were in high school and all that kind of stuff? Like what kind of dude you were and how deep in the streets you were versus also doing school and whatnot?
So shit, I was neck deep in the streets, like from the time I hopped off the porch, start gang banging from A-Tray, you know what I'm saying? Like man, like shit, I had the normal childhood of somebody from South Central LA, you feel me? I went to school, I was gang banging in, went to school. That's one thing. I liked school, I liked academics, history was one of my favorite subjects, social studies and stuff like that. So, I went to school, played sports, and then like after school, like I was to the hoods, on the block, Florence and Normandy, Florence and Normandy famous for the 92 riots, where they hit Reginald Denny with the brick. I used to be on Florence and Normandy back then as a kid, you know what I'm saying? Pitching rocks, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. But I did it like you know what I'm saying? I did everything you could do out of the street. So it's just like I was in and out of jail, you know what I'm saying? I was going to school. Every time I got out of jail, I was in school. I was in and out of jail. So juvenile hall, I did every juvenile hall. I've been in Los Padrinos Juvenile Hall, Sylmore Juvenile Hall, Central Juvenile Hall. I did 4 camp programs. I was in Malibu. If you've seen the movie Gridiron Gang,
I haven't.
With the Rock and Exhibit. So okay. Boom, that's a camp out there in Malibu. That's a sports camp. I was in there. I played football. I was in Camp Cleopatra, Camp Miller. Been in Challengers camp. That's a camp in a lockdown camp. That's in Lancaster, behind Lancaster Prison. Camp Scobie, Camp Jarvis. Just like been in CYA. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, my whole time, like as an adolescent, it was just, back and forth, you know what I'm saying, in and out of jail, shit from being from A-Tray, from gang banging and stuff like that, catching cases, whether it be a gun case, me shitting a stolen car. Man, I fought all type of cases, Adam.
Okay, looking at it as an adult, what do you see as being your motivation as a younger dude to be so deep in the streets and to keep doing all this illegal shit? Like, do you feel like you were trying to like compensate for, not necessarily having that structure? You didn't feel like you had a future for yourself, or when you look at it, is it more like you were just trying to get by?
So what led me to the streets, all right, so what led me to the streets is my father. So I had both parents in the house, you know what I'm saying? I had my mother and my father, but my father, he got Texas roots, you know what I'm saying? He came down here to California like in the early 60s, you know what I'm saying? He came down here to California, you feel me? So my father was like a real discipline. So like coming up, my father used to whoop my ass. Like I used to get an ass whooping like with anything. Like I get an ass whooping with belts, switches, weight belt. Like, my father had a real like low tolerance, you feel me? He was real strict. So I wasn't used to that shit, you feel me? I wasn't seeing other people's parents and the people who did have their fathers around, I wasn't seeing their fathers like acting like that. So like I started like feeling like that shit was abuse. So at that young age, I start formatting in my mind that, shit, he don't like me or like he got something against me. So, with all of my ass whoopings, I started to rebel against him, and me rebelling against him led me to the streets. So, I just, I guess I seek refuge, in the streets. It wasn't necessarily, I wasn't one of them people who joined the gang for protection or, got forced on. Like, I was already like, I was bad as a kid coming up, you know what I'm saying? Doing, you know what I'm saying? Regular shit, but I was bad, getting in trouble in school like that, fights and stuff like that. So it was just like, rebelling against my father. So, I rebelled against him, turned towards the streets. And then once I turned towards the streets, I took that back home, and
how much knowledge about the streets did your dad have? Was he kind of oblivious, or was he someone who like knew too much about it?
Shit, he was a street person. Okay. He was a street person, like he was a street person as well too. When he came down here from Texas to California, like he was in the streets, you know what I'm saying? Like, a player dude, get money type dudes, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that, So
but was he looking at the LA street gangbanging shit like this was like the ultimate thing that he wanted to keep you away from?
Looking back at it, that's what I came to the terms with and had a conversation with him with. So basically, him disciplining me and the stuff that he was, doing, he was basically trying to deter me from going towards the streets or being bad or making the wrong choices, but I end up making all those wrong choices by way of the disciplinary tactics he had anyway. You know what I'm saying? Because it was just like, you know, if he would have been regular, you know what I'm saying? Like, do I think I would have, like, been gang banging, anything like that? It still could have happened, but more than not likely, I probably wouldn't even trip because, like I said, I was already bad anyway. Like, you know, my first name used to ring bells. I was that little kid that people used to be like, hey, stay away, mama, stay away from Wooty Whoop. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like, I really didn't need no gang. Me going towards the gang was like me rebelling against my father. Like, man, you know, I'm about to do this. You know, I'm about to make my own way. Like, and this is my rite of passage of being a man, you know, and then, you know, start carrying weapons. So, you know, once I started carrying that weapon, I couldn't beat him, you know, at that time. So it's just like, you know, in my mind, I format, you know, this weapon to beat you, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, we got into it. So one day we got into it, you know, he tried to come with the disciplinary tactic for something that happened at school. And, you know, I said something back and it surprised him. We started arguing and he was like, you know, hit me with the line, I brought you in, I take you out. I'm like, what? And I'm like, shit, I'll take you out. And he like, what? Like he was like, you ain't got no gun. And I'm like, I do got a gun. He like, well, I'll take you to go get your gun. So the whole time I was going to this little continuation and it was like in the hundreds. You know, that was like our rival enemy. So, you know, I was up there every day, you know what I'm saying, with my little tool in my backpack and stuff, just in case, you know what I'm saying, anything got ugly. So, you know, at this time I got this, you know what I'm saying, gun in my backpack, you know what I'm saying, in my mom's car, you know what I'm saying, in the trunk. So we arguing. He tell me he gonna take me to the gun. He walked me downstairs, walked me to the trunk of the car, popped the trunk. I grabbed my backpack. He let me grab the backpack and everything. I guess he's still thinking I'm faking. So when I unzip the backpack, I go in the backpack to pull out the gun. When he see the handle of the gun, he instantly bomb rushed me, tackled me. So when he tackled me, we both fall. He fall on top of me. I let the backpack go. The backpack slide across the parking lot. Gun slide out the backpack. By this time, from us arguing and us walking down to the parking lot, I'm not knowing my mama. She listening in. She in the house in the room. She follow us down to the parking lot. So I just remember hearing her voice. Like, hey, DeAndre, you know what I'm saying? So my boy, rest in peace, DeAndre, he was out there. My mama had grabbed the gun in the backpack and picked it up and handed it to him. Like, here, take this. So by this time, I'm on the ground. My pop's on top of me, and he trying to go to the back of his dicky pants pocket. He always kept a box cutter. He pulled the box cutter out. So as he pulled a box cutter, I'm squirming from under him. Right before he can, like, push it up, I get from under him. And I hop up and I run towards my boy DeAndre and I run right to him and I grab the gun. And when I grab the gun and I turn and look towards my pops, you know what I'm saying, he's striking across the parking lot, you know what I'm saying? So I run, fake run towards him, like after him, you know what I'm saying? And he get on, you know what I'm saying? And next thing you know, the neighbors, you know, everybody who's seen it out there, it was like an 81 unit apartment complex, like a little mini project housing. A lot of people was looking out their window, seeing what's going on. Somebody called the police. And
you think he really would have gave you a $150 right then and there?
Man, my pop's crazy. Hell yeah. Wow. For sure. Hey.
That'd be such a crazy, because you know, anybody who got that scar or whatever got to tell the story for the rest of their life, and having to explain that you got it from your dad is like crazy moment in conversation right there.
Man, hey, for sure. Like, it probably would have went there, man. Like I said, like I told you, like I used to be whooping my ass. I wouldn't put it past him. But, you know, that moment right there, so that happened. I didn't go home that night, but the next night I went home. You know what I'm saying? And just like, you know, kind of from that moment period, you know, like that was, you know what I'm saying, the line drawn in the sand, you feel me? But with the line being drawn in the sand, I always kept it respectful. It was just like, for me, to him, like, that ass whooping shit, disciplinary shit, that shit out. But I always been a respectful kid. Like, even though I was in the streets gang banging, acting up, like, my parents wouldn't see that shit. They'd just hear about it. Like, you know what I'm saying? But like, I always been respectful. I never came in the house, gang bang paraphernalia, having shit out and shit like that. I always kept it respectful. So just like, definitely for my mama, you know what I'm saying? So just like with him, it was just like my right to passage. Like I'm a man. Like you enforced me into early manhood, and this is what it is. Like, I ain't gonna be disrespectful, but that ass whipping shit and shit you doing, that shit is out.
Okay, so you just saw the clip, but did you know that you can watch this entire interview right now before it's released to the public, uncensored, by becoming a member for just $5 a month? And there's a lot of other crazy benefits as well. So make sure you hit the link down in the description and sign up. Appreciate y'all.